Mr. Sessions, down there is an added urgent, as we are in the medium of a fatal opiate plague how has been outlined as the lowest personality-inflicted plague in the story of our nation. These are frantic times, and times several may believe manufacturing care marijuana wide accessible to be a frantic action. The testimony has been more precise of the essential part hemp can include. The scientific of cocklebur hemp and its constituent shaw capacity to rescue lives in 3 essential ways. Hemp can assist consider ache reduction, the original requirement for opioids. Hemp is as well efficient at weakening opiate departure symptoms, lot love it does for carcinoma patients, ill of chemoparty effects. Eventually, and maybe largest essential, the constituent found in hemp can heal up the ill drug addict's marrow, help them break down the loop of drug addiction. Mr. Sessions, down there is no some named material how can perform all the. If we had to begin of scrape and style a medical to assist conduct us out of the opiate plague, it would potential see really lot love hemp. A superior, and more secure, way to consider ache moreover, opioids goal the respiratory centers in the marrow, setting their users at actual hazard of moribund of overdosage. In absolute difference, in hemp, down there is practically no hazard of overdosage or flash die. Though more than wonderful, hemp delicious ache in a way opioids cannot. Although both of drugs goal receptors how hinder in ache signals to the marrow, hemp does thing more than, it targets L receptor how decreases inflammatory, and does it quick. I include seen the first hand. All above the nation, I include met patients who include weaned themselves off opioids with hemp. 10 years back, lawyer Mark Schechter advanced a flash morbid state named as transversal myelitis, an inflammatory of the dorsal string. Following newcomer doctors in several states, he was ordered opioids or, on to our calculations, consumption about 40,000 pills above the following 10 years. In spite how, his ache lot remained an 8 out of 10. He as well incurred considerable party effects of the ache medicine, consisting sickness, apathy, and depressive. Frantic and out of options, Schechter saw Dr. Mark Wallace, chief of College of California, San Diego Public Health Center for Ache Medical, wherever he was suggested hemp. Protocol following he took it for the at first period, Schechter's ache was diminished to a score of 2 out of 10, in barely any party effects. One dosage of hemp had stipulated is how 40,000 pills above 10 year could know. With marijuana to get off opioids for Schechter, as in so lot other, the outwardly insuperable obstacle to end his opiate use was the horrible departure symptoms he incurred every period he tested. While a patient stops opioids, their ache is frequently enlarged, followed by fast cardiac beat, insistent sickness and vomit, undue sweaty, lack of appetite and horrible concern. Why we can't fair say no to opioids eventually, while who is inclined to opioids, they are frequently outlined as possessing a marrow illness. Yasmin Hurd, CEO of the Drug Addiction Institution at Install Sinai in New York Town, showed me which the looks love in post-mortem specimens of such who had overdosed on opioids. During the prefrontal bark of the marrow, she found harm to the glutamatergic framework, that makes it hard for neuron signals to be transferred. The is an region of the marrow accountable for judgment making, training and RAM. Hurd said me how while in person's marrow is radically modified and ill in the way, they miss the capacity to govern opiate intake, incapable to abandon in spite their top efforts, incapable to fair say not. The is exactly why Hurd begun to see to some substances to assist and populated on non-psychoactive cannabidiol or CBD, one of the initial parts in hemp. Hurd and her crew found how CBD in fact helping reschedule and normalize the marrow at the cell standard, at the molecule standard. It was CBD how cured the glutamatergic framework and superior the mine openings of the marrow's front lobes. The new scientific sheds lights on stories love the one I heard of Ark Campbell of Yarmouth, Maine. He said me he had been in and out of narcotic rehabilitation 32 times above 25 year, in no successful. But quickly following start hemp, he no much longer has aspiration, wish and has not mind on, opioids, at all, time. For the history 40 year, we include been said how hemp turns the marrow in a grilled ovum, and now down there is research testimony how it can do fare the contrary, as it did for Campbell. It can heal up the marrow while anything else does. I aware it sounds too nice to be real. I initially mind so, as so. Do no error, although, Mark Schechter and Art Campbell are symbolic of thousands of patients who include effectively sold their pills for a factory. These patients frequently dwell in the shadows, frightened to go striker to stake their stories. They terror stigmatization. They terror proceedings. They terror how who will get off, which they trust is a rescue medicine. Wherever do we go of there? Mr. Sessions, Dr. Mark Wallace has guessed you to expend a day vision these patients in his San Diego hospital and eyewitness their outcomes for oneself. Dr. Dustin Sulik could do the identical for you in Portland, Maine, as could Dr. Sue Sisley in Phoenix. Stacy Gruber in Boston could show you the marrow scans of such who tested hemp for the at first period and were later capable to abandon opioids. Dr. Julie Holland in New York Town could go you via the newest study. All above the nation, you will discover the scientists who compose the books and papers, preliminary the scientific and increase our joint expertise. These are the female and men to whom you should hear. They are the ones, complementary of rhetorical and hypothesis, complete of facts and true, who are our top opportunity at crippled the fatal opiate plague. Manufacturing drug marijuana accessible should go in specific to and mandates, fair as in any some medical. It should be controlled to provide its security, complementary of pollution and consecutive in dosage. It should be stored out of the hands of family, pregnant woman, female and such who are at hazard for worst party effects. Any accountable man wants to do certainly the is a medical how helps human beings, not harms. Newly, yours comrade prudent John Boner modified his reason following creature invariably opposed to marijuana in the history. If you do the identical, Mr. Lawyer General, thousands of lives could be superior and stored. Down there is no period to miss.